Hi, my name is Salahuddin Mikhail. I am from Nigeria and I'm the founder and executive director of Nest Africa AI Innovation Lab. What inspired me to start what I do? In my community, we have a tradition when it's supposed to rain and it didn't rain, we used to beg God for rain. And sometimes as a child, I grew up asking some few questions of why does it rain so heavily that it destroys some of the things that we have, food, infrastructure, and sometimes it refuses to rain until we have to beg. Can we know the intensity of rain? And this kind of start raising my curiosity to dig deeper into understanding what climate change is, and also use my background in data science to see how I can bridge that intersection and also be able to address some of the questions that I have as a child. Growing up, after about 8 years, I found Nest Africa AI Innovation Lab, and some of the things that we're doing is essentially to answer some of the childhood questions that I have and to also foster innovation in climate action. So this journey starting from 8 years ago doesn't just start, it started by rooting myself with my community, doing some community engagement, educating people, capacity building for about 20,000 young people from across my country, building their capacity and influencing different policy changes, because I grew to have huge interest in climate policy and governance. And in the last 8 years, I have contributed to the influencing of the implementation of Nigeria Climate Change Act, the Clean Cooking Act, the plastic waste management policy, among other incredible policies within Nigeria that our advocacy has contributed to. And these all sum up to what brought me to SBs today. I wouldn't have been here today without all those experience, without all those community engagement, and the hours bond in volunteering activities. I was born in self-development, and I was born in really trying to understand the problem in my community and how I can contribute to solving that problem, because it's equally essential to me. And that is been what has given me the platform to speak with people from different organizations, speak with people from different fields, and receive invitation to attend different engagements. And also attending SBs today. This is my second SBs, by the way. It's essential because I understand that it creates a framework for whatever is going to be discussed at COP30, and many people don't give attention to it. So it's essential to have the foundational knowledge of what leads to the conversation happening at COPs, and that gives you a very clear perspective on how to engage meaningfully and also to drive action, influence policy change, and also ensure that the demands that we have across sectors as young people, as professionals, have been heard, and some of our works have been showcased. So yeah, thank you.
What would a youth-led, justice-centered COP30 look like to you?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. In my response is that we need a youth-centered approach, basically ensuring that youth take part in the processes from the planning, the negotiations, and also sitting at the table and making those decisions. And the good thing is that we've seen a very proactive youth, especially as we approach COP30. We've seen Brazil taking a very good lead with their COP30 presidency youth champion. She's really doing an amazing job, mobilizing the youth. Even here at SB62, she has taken a front lead to be able to empower youth so that by the time you're approaching COP30, we understand the dynamics of the process and also know how to approach, those decision-making tables. Again, when it comes to climate justice, it's about making, commitments and honoring those commitments. For a very long time, we've seen a lot of commitments being made in terms of access to funds, but youths are really not accessing those funds. So as we approach COP30, we want those funds to be made available prior to COP30 so that we can be able to mobilize as many youths as possible in terms of funding to logistical aspect to ensure that youths from the global south are able to understand to be able to make it to COP30. As I sum up, I'm calling up on Global South youth to take up the lead. We are the leaders of today, and we need to sit at the decision-making tables to be able to make better decisions for future youth. We take the actions today to make it a better tomorrow. Thank you. In your opinion, have people with disability been included fully into the climate space?
I wouldn't say we've been included fully. And when I use the word we, it means also persons with disability. Being at SB62, I can see from just virtually that there are not so many persons with disability around. Secondly, even when we were applying for this entrance or the entry, there was no any highlight on specification whether you are persons with disability, you have a disability or not. So to begin from there, it actually it automatically blocks us because we are not highlighted. So thus, I bet maybe so many persons with disability didn't join, or rather there was no a record on how it can be recorded that these are persons with disability, and we really need to have them in this space.
And as we go towards COP30, what can be done to ensure that people with disability are fully, absorbed into the climate space?
First of all, we need to invest and encourage participation of persons with disability. And we can go as low as just highlighting and when we are applying for these chances to be there, just having a clause that will indicate you are persons with disability or not, and it will give a clear record or rather data that there are a number of persons with disability are interested to be in this space. Secondly, I encourage most organizations that can come with the funding that will enable persons with disability able to access it, and that finance won't be an issue for us to attend such events. And also just creating awareness as capacity building, why it's important for persons with disability to attend these spaces. So we need to get to our local organization and encourage, teach or rather train persons with disability on why it's important for them to attend these spaces, because now there are lots of things happening here. Talk of climate finance, talk of climate justice. We need to be here. Policies cannot be made when we are very far from what is happening. So we need persons with disability on the ground to also make their contribution in all these areas.
What contributions can youths from the Global South make to global climate negotiations?
Thank you very much for that question. Youth from the Global South do contribute highly to climate negotiations. The first and major will be their lived experiences. This means that they have experienced real impact from these climate change issues, and they have also practiced resilience in overcoming these challenges that they come across. And so bringing on board real-time lived experiences makes it easier to tailor-make solutions that actually fit the real problems in the grassroots. Another way that the global youth can contribute to climate negotiations is through bringing on board indigenous knowledge. Most of the global youth are part of the indigenous community, and so when they come on board, they're able to bring community-based adaptation strategies that will lead us to having solutions for these problems straight from the grassroots. Thank you.
What support would youth need to be able to influence the outcomes of COP30?
Nice. So the first one, I'll talk about money, and that is funding. So for youth to be in the position to influence this decision, we need numbers. We need lots of youth in these conferences, because numbers really move decisions. So when they are funded, many of them, they will be in the conferences, and with synergies of many youth, I think it will help them. The second thing, I think it's capacity building and training for them to understand more about policies. Policy is not easy, and for them to be in the position to influence this decision, they really need to understand how policy is done and how to be in the position to maybe develop these text documents on how to negotiate and all things about climate action.
What do you think youths can do to influence the outcomes of COP30?
Of course, youth, should always be vocal about what they need to be included in the decisions that are made at COP30. And the first thing they should do is lobby for resources and funding so that they be part of the delegates and negotiators in COP30. Secondly, they should be very vocal in that they create a lot of social media campaigns to make sure that their decisions are put into the wider audience so that it can reach out to many people. And the other part is engaging directly with parties, that is from officials from their government, and make them aware of what they need to be included into the tax matters youth.
Do you feel youth voices are meaningfully engaged at SB62?
No, I don't think so. I feel like youth are restricted to airing their views only through one channel, that in every sessions we only have Yongo being a youth representative section. But now I feel like we need to have more youth inclusion in the negotiations, in the discussions, so that we don't only have Yongo being the only channel to air the views of the youth, but we can have other participants and other channels that youth can air their views and their points of concern.